All right, well, welcome everyone. My name is Chris Rudolph, and I'll be your host for this Business Accelerator program webinar today. So I'm currently tuning in from Madison, Wisconsin, in the heart of Midwest, the freezing Midwest at the moment. But I'd like to know where in the world you're tuning in from. So if you could type your location in the little question box that you see on your screen, that would be really great. I'd like to see where other folks are tuning in from. So I've got Michael from Bolingbrook, Illinois. Welcome, Michael. Kat from Chicago. Chris from Omaha. Amanda from Madison. Got Terry from Los Angeles, all over the country. So great to have everyone on here today. And this is going to be really interactive. And two quick things before I introduce our panelists. Be sure to stick around to the very end of this webinar. We're going to be giving away a $50 Amazon gift card, but you must be present to win. So be sure to stick on till the very end. And then also feel free to type in any questions that you have in the little question box, and we'll have some time for the panelists to address those. If you want to address one of the specific panelists, put their name in first and then your question. So we've got an outstanding group of digital marketing experts here for our panel. Our first panelist is Miri Rodriguez, a storyteller at Microsoft. So she's also a personal brand coach and an international keynote speaker at top conferences like Social Media Marketing World and Social Media Strategy Summit. So welcome, Miri. Great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, next to Miri, we have Ben Tyson, a global lead of live training strategy at Google. He helps agencies and businesses with gaining a better insight into Google products and really understand that complexity of digital marketing for their customers, and so they can have better success in marketing. So he's spoken at over 300 conferences, and you can also check him out on the Google Partners YouTube channel. So one thing you might not know about Ben is he has a unique ability to write parody raps, so hence the amazing jacket featured in his headshot. So great to have you, Ben.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, and we also have next to Ben, we have Elly Deutch, McDonald's Global Social Campaign and Content Manager. She's currently creating and implementing global social strategy across content marketing, campaigns, employee advocacy, and best practices for McDonald's Corporation. One thing you might not know about her is that she's a member of the reigning kickball world championship team, so pretty amazing.
Whoa.
Yeah. She's also an accomplished speaker and has spoken at over 150 events, conferences, and summits worldwide. So great to have you on, Elly.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everybody. Good to be here.
All right. So panelists, I gave you a little brief introduction, but tell me a little bit about your background in digital marketing and what you're up to now. So we'll start with Miri.
Hey, yeah. So I've been in communications, operations, and marketing for over, gosh, I'm dating myself here, over 15 years in corporate America, and this has been throughout technical industries, technology industries, such as Motorola, Citrix, and now Microsoft. And it's been a great evolution of seeing how marketing has evolved through those years, and in operations and different aspects of the disciplines in technology. So my background, extends from social media, from marketing, from operations, and all of that. It's really under the kind of the storytelling theme, and I actually ended up being a storyteller, which I didn't even know that existed, So it's really cool to know that the way that we're looking at content, the way that we're looking at how we're connecting our customers to that content is actually through storytelling, and we're doing that right now. I don't sit in marketing today, and that's because Microsoft is actually creating business strategies around storytelling. I'm actually on the IT side, but in general, storytelling is a way to connect any content, and so it is sort of marketing in a way, and it's digital, and it's all different forms that we connect with our customers. So, storytelling is something I'm going to talk about later on, so I'm excited to be here, and thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, Miri. All right, Ben, tell us a little bit about your background and what you're up to today.
Yeah, I don't have cool Minnie Mouse ears on like Miri, so we're going to need an explanation about that shortly. So,
okay.
Yeah, so I've been in digital marketing for about 12 years. I was in sales for agencies as well as a practitioner, really optimizing and managing PPC campaigns. I moved on to a Google partner, and I ended up becoming a product creator and created a PPC product that is still utilized in the market today. But after I created that, they said, well, now that you've created it, you have to step out of sales and tell people what it is and how to sell it and all this stuff. So I went into the education space and was then recruited to Google, where now I lead the live training strategy surrounded around product and sales curriculum. And it's interesting, as Miri had mentioned, storytelling definitely is an aspect of education and truly understanding how to connect all the dots in such a complex digital ecosystem. And I think frankly, where Google has dropped the ball in the past is not providing the appropriate amount of education for individuals. And that's what my team has stepped in to do over the course of the last year and a half, is create really engaging educational initiatives to hopefully give people the insights they need to win in the ecosystem.
Great. Thanks, Ben. That's awesome. Thanks for the insight. And Elly, tell us a little bit more about your background and what you're up to today.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Elly Deutch here with McDonald's Corporation. I've been working in the digital marketing and social media space for about 10 years, and I started out in professional sports, moved over to the agency side with Weber Shandwick, and worked across a bunch of Fortune 500 companies with them, building their digital strategies. Went on my own and built my own business around consulting and digital marketing communications, and then found one of my clients wanted a full-time digital lead, so was leading all digital marketing, web, e-commerce, social, paid, email, etc. at Garrett Popcorn Shops before coming over to McDonald's. So I've been here for about 3 years working across our global campaigns and how we integrate digital, social, and all of our marketing tactics into everything that we do with our 120 markets across the globe.
Awesome. I'm just fascinated. Every thought leader and expert in digital marketing has just a really unique background. With how this whole field has emerged. It's from any background you could think of. Back to digital. So that's really, really fascinating. So we are going to dive into things right away. I'm going to address this to each of you as panelists. So in your opinion, what's going to be one of the hottest digital marketing trends in 2018? Who wants to get us started here?
I can go if that makes sense, and then I'll throw it to one of the awesome ladies on the panel here. I believe that it started in 2016. It got more I guess strategic in 2017. I think 2018, in my opinion, is going to be the year of automation, and more specifically automation to drive growth, because there's been significant changes over the course of the last 18 months, where we've seen mobile first, less brand loyalty, more concentration, which creates significant challenges to optimize strategically all the campaigns you're running through different marketing channels. And I think that automation across the board is going to result in time savings, where you're going to be able to hopefully, minimize your time spent to about 20% time doing, manual tasks, and really kind of go to the 80% more strategic thought leadership evaluation of your marketing, where today we generally see that the exact opposite, where 80% of the time is spent dealing with manual, low-value kind of task, and only 20% is spent on doing strategic initiatives. So I think this is going to be the year where we see those numbers flip-flop as more organizations start to adopt automation tools and techniques to have better performance in their marketing. And I can expand if that makes sense, but I thought I'd kick it off with that.
Yeah, no, that's good. Ben, maybe give us a feel for some of the tools that are maybe out there in automation, or things that you kind of are aware of down the pipeline that you think will be big.
So I'll be biased with some of the products that we're developing at Google. Really kind of the way that we envision it, and the way that I think is actually probably right, is based on 4 different things. You kind of imagine, like, most marketing, I guess, or I should say marketers have like a target CPA that they're looking to optimize towards. And the way that we've kind of analyzed this is based on 4 things to reach a target CPA, which would be bidding, creative, measurement, and audience. So from our perspective, we've kind of created like different tools for bidding sophistication, for example, with things like smart bidding or target ROAS, lifetime value. And then when we go further down into creative, there's opportunity to use machine learning to show better ads. And we have a few of those tools, and there's plenty of tools that exist. And then we get into measurement. Some of the tools that we're going to see come forward in the new year are, and there's some great tools that exist already out there, but more of a full marketing level view of attribution, moving beyond, I guess, last touch point, and moving and evaluating the effectiveness of the entire marketing strategy to determine really kind of what channel is playing a major role in converting customers.
Awesome. Yeah, good stuff. We'll go Miri and then Elly. What's going to be hot in 2018 as far as digital marketing goes?
Yeah, we were talking kind of off stage right before joining the call, and Ben had mentioned something about events, that he does all these events. And my first thing that I had for 2018 is I believe that it's really going to kind of catch on. It's real time and micro moment marketing. So basically event related marketing. We're seeing a lot of that when you're watching. A lot of people do still watch TV, by the way, and what they do watch is the live events. They want to watch the live sports. They want to watch the the Oscars and the Grammys, and the marketing trends that we're kind of seeing grow over the years is that you're taking those micro moments and you're engaging while people are tweeting or they're talking, or what the content is actually trending on a platform, and you insert that as part of you make yourself part of the conversation. Brands are actually immersing themselves in the user-generated content, and they're inserting the content there. So I'm, because of the automation that Ben was talking about, it's going to be easier to be more strategic as a marketer to think about these moments where it's easier to insert that content instead of just creating, stories to drop in different areas that are expected, like a product launch or service launch. So it's really important to think about what are those key moments for your industry, for your company, and they always exist. So no matter the size of the company, you're always going to have within the industry moments that you can kind of come in and have a live conversation and have a trending topic and immerse yourself in that experience. And I think it's more organic for the audiences to grab onto that, and they'll listen in more than if they're just bombarded with that noise. So think about that one. I think it's going to be a hot one.
And Elly, what do you think is going to be hot in 2018?
Well, both of your ideas there, Ben and Miri, kind of led me into exactly what I'm talking about. So it's perfect because a little bit of where we are with automation and where we're going to be with live events all comes to fruition in social media. So I'm going to go ahead and make a blanket statement that Instagram will be it's almost at its bubble, but it's going to burst, and it's going to be the hottest social or online marketing tool that's utilized because of many things. We've seen the significant growth of all of the different users that have signed up, especially with the launch of Stories in 2016. It's fighting against, I think, in a kind of retributional way to Snapchat to say, hey, this is what you get for not letting us buy you out. We're coming in strong, and Facebook has, really put the force behind it. Sorry, Ben, but to show that Stories launched with, over 200 million gained users in like the first month, and videos being the feature of everything that we utilize online and that we consume these days. And even now, there are new features that are unlike any other platform, with saving stories and archiving them and pinning them to your profiles, and the growth of advertising on Instagram. I think it went from 500K earlier this year of number of advertisers to over 1 million active advertisers in 4 months. So we're going to see that grow even more, and hopefully we will see some solid strategy behind that automation and what comes with that advertising, so that it's not adding too much noise and then people get overwhelmed and they start leaving Instagram and going somewhere else, and that it'll really be fruitful, really impactful, solid advertising that's targeted appropriately to consumers. So I think we're going to see a lot of shift come from Instagram, and with the power of Facebook behind it, it's going to do some things that are going to rock our 2018 world.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. as hard as it is to agree with that noun, you know, Facebook and Instagram and the whole social sphere has developed something great. I think one of the aspects is the video that you both mentioned.
Yep.
I think that there are some really, really cool tools that are coming out for interactive video, really kind of taking the engagement that you can have with video and create a performance type of advertising with that. There's great tools out there. Clixy Video is one that comes to mind, where it just gives a really great opportunity for a customer or a marketer to leverage interactivity to drive someone down the funnel, get more information, whatever the case is. So I think that what excites me about this time is the opportunity in automation, events marketing, social marketing, that people have to take advantage of. Combining that with video, which I think is also going to be a super unique trend as it takes place, and really kind of optimizing for interactivity through that.
Yeah, you know, and I want to add to that. A lot of people, everybody keeps talking about video, like streaming, and you know, brands will ask. A lot of people will ask me, well, yeah, you're Microsoft, you probably have a bigger budget than we do, right? And so when you think about mom and pop companies, when you think about small businesses, and you think about how they're driving this kind of content or how they need to do this to stay relevant in the business, what are you suggesting? I'm going to throw a question out there because I've been asked that before, and there's so many ways that brands can do that. I know we're represented here, big brands, you know, McDonald's and Google and Microsoft. Have you been asked that before, and what have you told them?
Is that directed at me? Sorry, Miri.
That is directed at you.
Yeah, so I think that, I mean, I don't think it's a secret that it is super challenging if you're a small to medium-sized business in a lot of the arenas. I mean, Facebook, Google, YouTube, etc., to market your business, right? What I will say is adopting some of the things that you all are talking about in the avenues where you can market your business and implementing automation creates better use of spend, which I think is absolutely crucial. And it's not an additional cost in most cases for small to medium-sized businesses. When you think about video specifically, I always say to almost every person I run into, I'm like, let me see your phone. And you know, usually it's an iPhone, and usually it's an iPhone 7, right, or better. And I say, hey, this shoots 4K video. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the things that customers are typing in. So what's interesting is we've done a bunch of studies. A lot of consumers are typing in how-to videos on YouTube and clicking on organic type of videos and not sponsored ads that appear on there. And for example, how to change an air filter on your air conditioning, right? We did this with a contractor where we found that 47% of the people that actually clicked on their video in their region actually contacted them to have them come and install their new air filter. So I think that just participation is enough, and a lot of the challenge is the video assets. Shoot it with a tablet, shoot it with a smartphone, upload it to YouTube. You don't necessarily have to participate in ads at this time, and just be more of an informational resource for people and become a thought leader in your industry. And that's kind of the advice that I give to mom and pop places at this point in time.
I was totally unrehearsed. I wasn't supposed to ask a question, but I thought that was good.
That's great.
It was a great question.
Yeah. So I'm curious for each of you, what do you think is going to be hot in 2018 that very few people are talking about?
So I'll start with that one since we went the other way around. So you know, a lot of people kind of are forgetting the power of content that is evergreen content. When we talk about video, when we talk about augmented reality, which I'm sure a lot of people are going to be talking about that, AI and machine learning and all the integration of what that means to marketing, don't forget that you know, your content that is written is still powerful. I did a research actually recently, about 2 weeks ago, and I asked those questions. I asked, you know, if you had the same content on video, Would you rather watch the video? Would you rather read it? Or would you rather hear it on a podcast? And I was surprised to read that, to learn that a lot of people still want to read content. So the evergreen content is still hot, and it's still a place where, as marketers, you have to kind of drive back to, your audience drive back to, and especially when it comes to SEO, right? So think about that. Think about there's something that, you know, it's going to help the customer, and the trend here really is customer service and customer experience. So for me right now, what I speak about when I go to conferences is I say that marketing is now every department, right? So integrated marketing campaigns is what's going to be hot in 2018. When you think about how you're going to deliver that campaign, how that experience is going to be end-to-end for a customer, is the conversation brands need to be having at every level. It's no longer the one marketing person that's wearing 10 hats. It's everyone in the organization, from a sales standpoint all the way through a customer service support person. All of that needs to be aligned in order to deliver a real, tangible and used usable experience for the customer, and that you ensure, you know, we talked about loyalty for customers, that still exists. And so for you to ensure that loyalty, it has to start from the beginning, and it has to touch every point of the customer experience. So for me, 2018 is going to be about customer experience and how you take that through every endpoint of that customer experience through different types of content and storytelling, because the story kind of brings it all together.
So there's a sliver of something that you said, Miri, which I want to harp on, because that's what I think actually is going to be more prominent than ever in 2018, and that's the actual copy is still being read by people. And so we've seen that even with how video has transformed. We've now seen captioning and different description services on videos, in any type of, you know, thing that you read online. It's always more accessible. So I actually view that accessibility is going to become even easier in 2018 than it's already has started to. And so everything that you see, you read, you watch online will have captioning, will have any audio descriptions or caption descriptions, and anything that will help every type of person around the world be able to read, see, and watch, hear, whatever it is they need to do. Because one thing that we've done a disservice for ourselves in this industry is not made it easy for people that have other, you know, hearing, seeing, watching, reading capabilities and disabilities, not being able to go through on social and scroll through a feed because they have, you know, whatever issue or challenge that they face. And so I think that'll actually add another layer to that integrated marketing strategy, is how do we reach all our audiences and not just the ones that are at a desktop or on mobile.
I love that. Accessibility is a big part of that integration. I agree with you. We're doing that as well at Microsoft. We're really honing in on that.
Yeah.
I would say that, like, when you say integrated marketing strategies, I would say kind of integrating like your marketing activities into the entire customer life cycle. And what I mean by that is, like, if we take the way, you know, the complexity of marketing and digital marketing has obviously increased. You know, techniques like customer journey mapping, different personas. I believe that this is a trend that will continue to take off, because it is becoming more increasingly important to really, like, define the most relevant communications and experience for different touch points in the consumer journey. So we are now you know, consulting more sources of information than ever before we make a purchasing decision. On average, it's just about 15 sources of information. So how do I identify those personas and that consumer journey mapping to really make better marketing decisions? I think this also is going to tie a little bit to attribution and the ability to kind of really measure what's taking place in your marketing strategy. I think that the way you improve the effectiveness of digital marketing is to really kind of think from the customer's viewpoint, the communication opportunity available throughout every touch point through that customer life cycle for you know, different types of businesses is going to really kind of be a trend that we see more marketers trying to accomplish in 2018. And again, it is just going to provide a better return, total return on ad spend.
So I have a question I want to pose to you. This came from Nick Myers in our audience, and yeah, and he wondering if you could shed any light on what do you think is going to be hot for business-to-business digital marketing in 2018, not just the business-to-consumer side? Would anyone be able to chime in on that one?
Yeah, I can chime in. Hi, Nick. Good to see you. You can see me. I can't see you, but it's good to see you. And I love your question because you're right. Sometimes we talk about, a lot of it is B2C, but I think what we're talking about here does apply to B2B as well. And Ben mentioned something before that you and I have talked about before, in terms of the content that B2B needs to be putting out there is that content that makes the brand the expert in the field. So if your brand shows up as the expert with enough content that your customers are tuning in, they're looking for topics, and you show up in that SEO consistently as the thought leader, as the expert in that field, it breeds that trust with your customers, and then they begin to seek you out for different things. I think all of it has to do with experience, and what that experience means from B2B is the thought leadership that you bring and the partnership that you are willing to bring to B2B. So the experience from a B2B standpoint, like for us at Microsoft, we are focused a lot this year in small businesses, and we're looking at those strategies because it is important for us to understand what the needs are in that space. And when we talk about B2B, who your customers are and what they're doing, it's really important that you understand not only the end user and how they deliver that to the end user from a B2B standpoint, but what that they need as a brand. What is it that you can offer them? What is the expertise? What is the niche that you have that they can hone into? And how you do that best is through content, and which type of content, what form of content will be a determination depending on the industry. But again, just like Elly said, the copy, and I said myself, the evergreen content will always live, and we're finding out that even though through video and live streaming, going back to that evergreen content that delivers what the landing page of what your industry does and what your brand does, it's what establishes your brand. So this applies to everyone, B2B and B2C.
Yeah, and I'll add, the context of which you're posting content and anything is more relevant than the actual copy sometimes, because if you're posting it on a channel that none of your B2B partners are on, then you're just adding noise to the internet, and you're not actually helping the world learn something more about your company or connect with you. And so trying to add that cultural relativity to what you do, whether it's trends, that might not be as relevant for a B2B business, but then making sure that context of everything that you put online is indexed by Google, #1 search engine in the world, owning, definitely over 99% of traffic. That is important for you to centralize your work on your website, your blog, your hub, whatever it is that you own. Forget all these other social media or digital marketing channels. Your hub should be the center of your strategy and driving people there, which means you have to have the right search strategy, you have to have the right context, the copy, the language, the keywords. Everything should be all strategically integrated, as we've been speaking, and aligned with driving people to your website to learn more about what you do, and that could be your suppliers, your vendors, your partners, or whomever. So I think all of the things that we've said and mentioned as hot trends, they've been around for ages, but really driving home the relevancy of them and relating it back to your brand, your business, and your objective or purpose of what you're trying to do online is what's going to help you, at the end of the day, sell more products or services and get the word out there about your business.
Yeah, Elly, you bring up a really good point. What do you guys think? What's one thing that is, maybe in digital marketing is considered old school, but is really still important and relevant?
I'd say email. I think email is still important. I think that it's gonna stay important. It's gonna be one of those things that will not go away, even though we want to make it go away. Hashtag Teams, is the thing that I think it's become evergreen, and it's still important in marketing when we look at avenues and channels to really get a personalized experience. It starts with how we communicate with our customers, and I have to be honest, I do open up email that grabs my attention when it's good, when it's concise, it's powerful, and it's good enough it just grabs you. So the creativity behind that, and part of the integration of the rest of the marketing campaign, it does warrant having something like email, having a kind of one-on-one conversation with the customer, that it feels like that, because the social channel provides one-to-many, right? And it can feel like one-to-many at times, even though as personal as we make it sound. So I think email is still powerful enough that will, through many years from here, it will still be relevant to connect with our customers and feel like it's more personal.
Yeah, along with emails, I don't know if this is super old school, but I think it's still a very underutilized, is simply just remarketing. There is, I always say to folks, I mean, obviously within your budgets, but if you are looking to invest more into your search ads budget, like you might as well just like throw that in the garbage if you're not doing remarketing. I mean, it's something outrageous. I think the last stat I saw was that 92% of folks do not take the action you want them to take once they reach your website. So what we're saying essentially is that we're okay with 92% of people just walking away and us never interacting with them again. That's insane. So remarketing's been around for some time now, but I think it's a trend that is still underutilized and will be even more important as your opportunities of which marketing channels you can leverage, and as you expand which marketing channels you're utilizing, remarketing will become even more important for people to start investing in.
That's good.
And I think something that is old school, maybe not that old, but something marketers are probably sick of hearing for sure by this point, is the year of mobile, right? We've heard that probably since 2012, and every year there's been drastic developments and amazing, things that have been made in this space, but we hear that so often that now it's just innately embedded in people, and everything, they're connected to their phones at all times of the day. And I think that 2018 will finally be the year that people and everything that we do will be mobile friendly. I think the world has gotten it, and even those that were really far advanced and in this mobile space early, now it's having a full integrated mobile plan. It's putting the customer at the center of everything that you do. And where are the customers? They're on mobile, and they spend, almost all of their days on their smartphones and doing everything online, including consuming television and live tweeting and watching movies and whatever it could be. So we're finally going to see that emergence of everything, even the old 1990s, Wayback Machine type of websites are all going to be finally mobile, and everybody's going to be in a much more mobile-friendly space. And then it won't even be talked about because mobile won't be a thing. It's just what everybody does.
Is 2012 considered old school, I guess? Maybe in digital marketing, right? Like
I mean, that's what I said. I don't know.
No, I'm like thinking about them. Like, yeah, 5 years probably is considered old school. Like, because things change so quickly.
Well, I don't think we were talking about the year of mobile in 2000, but maybe some people, maybe Silicon Valley folks.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to give a quick reminder. If you're in our listening audience, feel free to enter questions in, and we'll address those to the panelists. My next question actually has to do with digital marketing tools. So what digital marketing tools do you guys think will be hot in 2018?
I'll go first here. I'm kind of biased, as I've mentioned, but I think some of the coolest tools that are coming out and some things that we're working on, if you haven't experienced Data Studio, I highly recommend it. It's a free tool that's offered by Google. Essentially, it gives you the ability to upload spreadsheets with a bunch of different marketing data, and then it automatically converts it into very pretty graphs to utilize in presentations. So it's a great functionality for a marketing executive that reports directly into the VP or the CMO that needs to give reporting and updates. It's also great for resellers of any digital product. They can simply go to Data Studio, upload all of their data, and then it'll print, or I should say it'll formulate out really, again, pretty graphs that you can share with your customers, your clients, whomever. I think that's going to be one of the most unique tools, especially as you look at, again, everyone moving away from last click attribution. It's going to be very important to kind of show in layman's terms, like what's actually taking place with marketing spend, rather than delivering 25 different spreadsheets to your clients or to your manager, your VP, whomever. So this is going to be a really great tool to integrate and really show what your digital marketing is doing in the marketplace.
Very cool. And Ben, where could someone find that?
If you were just to Google or search, I should say.
Or Bing.
Yeah, sorry, I should just say search. If you were just to do a search for Google Data Studio, it'll be the first thing that comes up. And it's free. And I can say at this point in time, there is no vision of having a paid version of it. So everything is everything that's available within the tool, everyone has access to.
I think when we talk about tools, we also have to remind ourselves that up until just a little while ago, social media tools were more about kind of getting the ROI of social media, improving the ROI of social media, which we will never really have been able to do effectively, to be honest, because it's just so much, and these tools have not been so effective in just really explain, as we sit and explain to a lead, an executive, what does engagement mean, what does likes mean, and what does that all mean to the investment, and how does that translate to an ROI? I think everyone has been struggling, no matter where you are in the transformation, the digital transformation journey, and the social media channels as they were birthed, what that means. And so I think when we talk about tools, it's important to think about first your industry, your audience, and what makes sense to your story as a brand, what your mission is and what you're trying to accomplish to your marketing campaigns, and it starts with that, and then you can integrate different tools that play into that. You can, it's all part of that experience. For us, LinkedIn Elevate came out recently, and it's been so cool to think about how you can share those stories, and you can actually use that for employee advocacy, and you can use it for so social selling with our sales team. It kind of curates content and is able to distribute it to the different channels that are part of social, like Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, and then you have actually return actually a dashboard that can tell you how that how that content did, and it's I think it's more about the tools that are good for you are the features within your industry that makes sense for you. There's always a story to be told about social, about marketing. What is your story? I'm a storyteller, so I'm always back to the story. What is your story? What are you telling the executives about the marketing? What do you want to tell the executives about the marketing? And that's going to depend on the tools that you're going to use. There's a lot of free tools. Thank you, Ben, for that one. You can Google and you can Bing a lot more, actually, and it all has to do with analysis. It has to do with listening, and what fits you better in your industry is what you should be using. So I'm not going to just throw out one out there. I think it's more about you thinking strategically what tools serve you best in your space, in your industry, and how you're telling the story.
And I'd kick it back to mobile, right? Everything that we're doing, at least from a B2C perspective, is trying to reach consumers and get into their hands, their pockets, whatever it is, wherever they are at all times of the day. So any type of location targeting, get away just from what we've been doing in years past with beacons and geo-targeting and, cookies and whatnot. There will be even more important data that's being brought into the funnel and brought into companies to create that integrated marketing strategy where we can have that one-point customer view with all the data surrounding it and really look at how that's going to help drive our strategy moving forward to be a more successful company or business. So there's a million tools out there that are doing it, and I think there's a lot of competition around it, but really trying to find the best way to target those consumers appropriately, because everybody knows that when you get an ad served to you on your mobile or wherever you are, that you're like, why did I get that? That's so random. And that's because we don't clean our databases, and we're not retargeting, and we're not doing the right type of methodologies in order to reach the right type of people at the right time in the right context that they should be served an ad. So that advertising and targeting is going to become even more location based, I think, than ever before through mobile.
You bring up a great point, and that's data. That's big data, that's social data, that's dark data. All of that is, as we integrate AR and AI and all these begins, the data is going to get bigger and bigger. And I do want to say, for us at Microsoft, and we're looking at different aspects and disciplines of the business, not just marketing, but Power BI is serving us really well in actually having this dashboard of information that can help us tell the story. I think when you think about tools, think about that data analysis first, and what that tells you, because it starts with that. It starts with the trends. It starts with the the spikes and what's happening with that information that you're receiving within your industry, within your space. And I think that will drive you to the next story. But really, it starts with data, and you hit it in the nail, Elly. That's wonderful. To talk about, that's going to increase. It's going to get bigger, and what that means, the connected data, the IoT, all of that will begin to create, algorithms, and it's gonna be helpful for marketers to really understand where that's going, and that's with the Power BI, some kind of tool that helps you determine that and build that dashboard.
I have a question come in from our audience. This is Abigail. She asks, what is your favorite or most used tool to measure or track overall brand impression?
So I'll start with that. So at Microsoft, we use several ones because we are so big. But our main one is Sprinkler. We use Sprinkler for that, and they have gotten, I would say, a lot better than they were before. They were more of a broader view of content engagement, and now it really kind of drill down deeper into the analysis of information. And we're so big at Microsoft, and we're a global company, and so we're looking at different languages, we're looking at different products. We actually look, when we talk about social media and social channels that we're listening to, we have to divide them by products because there's so much information. So Sprinkler has helped us a lot. It is a good tool. They continue to upgrade it and make changes. I think the biggest thing that they've done for us, Sprinkler, is really give us a deeper view into the customer experience. And again, it goes back to that experience that you have to look into. If you're not getting that from a tool, if you're just getting a dashboard, then you're going to need more, because it's not telling you the story that you need to see.
And I would say brand perception is hard to quantify in general, because it's different for every single brand. And what are you trying to achieve by increasing your perception or making it more positive and changing the sentiment? And we utilize Sprinkler as well, but there's a million other tools that are great to use, because social media alone is the world's largest focus group. So you can ask anything to your customers, and you can get answers from them that in a transparent, authentic way you wouldn't be able to get 10, 15 years ago when you were doing closed room focus groups. But I would say don't forget the conversations that happen offline, the word of mouth that generates from people having and seeing what happens online. So you should still have some way to build social and the listening that you can extract from Sprinkler or any other tool that's available for you, and integrate it into all your other insights and data that's coming through. So do a focus group and have other email surveys that are sent out, and try to find a way to triangulate all the information and aggregate it, so that it's not just here's what our consumers or business partners are saying on social, here's what they're doing here, there, and everywhere. Try to build that one-point customer view, so that you're building that CRM of data and delivering the most valuable product, service, or whatever it is you're trying to achieve to your customers online through all your digital marketing and social efforts.
I want to add to that, because that's so powerful. I'm sorry, Ben, I'm just going to intercept real quick. Use the features of the channels, because they're free. Use Facebook poll, Instagram poll, use Twitter polls. Those are great tools that are free, that are available, and you can just gauge some kind of quick pulse on whatever you want from a product, service, whatever it is, and they will respond. We've done it. I can tell you, customers love those things. They love to talk back to you, to the brand. It's a great engagement activity as well. So consider that as well in terms of building your story for what that means to engagement and customer connection.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that Elly's and Miri's explanations were fantastic. I would go back to, what do you mean by brand impression? It would be the first question that I would ask. I think that there's multiple answers that you would have, and depending on that, there's different tools that would be worth checking out. I love the idea of Facebook polls. I love the idea of Twitter polls, survey polls, however you want to, whatever tool you want to utilize. There's a million free ones out there. But I think what the biggest thing for me is understanding what you want to find out about your brand impression report, if you will, and make sure that depending on what those answers are, you have an action item list of how you're going to improve.
And also don't forget that your employees are your most engaged consumers. And even in a B2B world, you know, you have people at your fingertips in your office, whether you have a 2-person startup or a 200 million person company, corporation around the globe. Utilize them, ask them questions. What do they want to see? What would they feel comfortable sharing? And know that if you have an employee's buy-in, that's 10 times more reach than any of your corporate, global, or even market digital channels can reach, because of their extension of networks and connections. So use that power to the best of your abilities, and do an internal survey, or go around and ask people informally, or have informational interviews with people. You know, find out what would resonate with them, their families, their friends, and, you know, try to get all angles of the, you know, real question that you're trying to answer around brand impression. You know, what do they think? How do they feel? What would attract them to be better customers? I mean, they're right there at your fingertips. So not to go on the advocacy preaching angle too much, but I'm a big believer in fostering and empowering your employees to do good for your company. And if you educate them and train them, you know, and listen to them just like you listen to your customers, then that will help you grow your business significantly.
Great point, Elly. One of our questions we have come in from Jessica is, with the growth of tools like Siri and Alexa, how will that impact digital marketing here in the future?
Yeah, that's a huge one, and that is part of the AI and the machine learning that everybody keeps talking about. So the personal assistant is what it's doing. It's going to start replacing the device. Okay, no longer are we going to start looking for things ourselves and having to stop, you know, and you know, type in and search. We'll just go, hey Siri, hey, you know, and the voice assisted technology is going to create a platform for marketers to start embedding the stories and the ads and whatever it is within that context, within the AI, within the machine learning, within the chatbots, which are also part of that. So when you think about you know, augmented reality, when you think about the next technology, what we have to think about. I actually had a slide for this, but we're not going to show it. It's you know, it's like Terminator 3. It's like the machines are coming. You know, what are marketers to do? It's not to be scared about it. I'm a little scared, but you know, don't panic. It's more about marketers thinking about what the machine can do, which is what Ben mentioned earlier in terms of automation, and what we can do to on our strategic side. So as marketers, you're gonna start to think, okay, the machines are gonna start building algorithms. When I say, hey Siri, blah, 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 it's going to start creating that big data and connected information where it's gonna know that it's gonna be able to pattern for me, saying, you know, Miri, you know, every time she says, hey Siri, she's probably looking for, you know, half of the time she's looking for shopping experiences, and so that's going to give information to the connected world, to brands, to say, hey, Miri always likes to shop. She's always talking about shopping. She's always looking, you know. Siri is giving that information, right? It's bringing that to the cloud, and the cloud is building those algorithms, and the algorithm is going to bring that data back and say, Miri, half of the time is always talking about shopping. So the shopping industry or the retail industry or whatever I'm going to be shopping, if it's food, it will tag onto that, and it'll be able to kind of integrate information in there. So maybe I'll get an email, maybe I get a half off coupon to my favorite store because it knows that I like to shop, and I'm constantly saying, hey Siri, you know, go to Macy's, or tell me what the sale is at Macy's today. Is there a sale at Macy's today? It's going to start putting those together. So when you think about that experience and how we're going to integrate that into the customer experience as a whole with machines, is brands need to think about where to come into that, in what space do they come into, and what content will that be. And a lot of it is going to be strategic, and that's why automation is important, because we're going to have to spend a lot of time strategizing around what content will not seem salesy, but it'll be part of, like, hey, I learned that you're going to the airport, here's 5 off, you know, parking, and I'm like, oh great, awesome, and I'll click it, and there I am. So that's the kind of experience we're going to start seeing with the assisted support from a machine.
So let's not forget about Google Now and Google Home, though, okay? Just as an FYI.
Oh yes, that. It's actually pretty good. I have one, by the way. It's pretty good.
Very good. So Google Home just launched the ability for intent-based searches within Google Home. So you would just say, you know, Google, find me a local plumber, and there would be a list of 2 to 3 plumbers that would either come up if you had it connected to your TV or read it to you if you wanted to. And then that's only open in 7 or 8 different industries right now, generally all home service businesses. But eventually what you'll start to see is, as Miri is mentioning, this being a more productive tool than a smartphone to be able to get relevant information and insight, because it'll kind of already understand who you are, what you like, what you don't like. And here's the thing I always say is, we're gonna get ads no matter where we are, what we're doing. We're always gonna get advertisements. Isn't it great when the ads are actually relevant to you versus unrelevant? If we're gonna get them either way, might as well be relevant to see something that I'm gonna like and I'm probably gonna take advantage of. But as we move towards assists, it's going to be much more dynamic, much more intuitive in regards to the person that it's interacting with, and then from there, we're already seeing intent-related opportunities for marketers to take advantage of existing in Google Home.
Yeah, it's personalization. That's exactly what that is. It's going to be
personalized. I was looking for. Yeah, I just
That's
couldn't
the
remember what that word. Yeah, exactly.
You're welcome.
And convenience, right? It's all about making it easier for whoever's using it, whatever device they're using it. You know, this is just going to be natural. And we've talked about AI and VR and all these great things that keep being the hot topics of the year again. But it's just life. This is where technology has led us in the evolution of everything that happens online and offline and how it is fully integrated into the world that we live in. So I think it'll be interesting to see if Microsoft or maybe some other big companies come out with competitor listening devices and assistance devices, personalization at all. So we'll see what happens. It'll be more prominent than ever, though.
Yeah, the three of you really bring up a really good point. I'd see, you know, traditional advertising and marketing back in the day would be about disruption. You know, a commercial break, you know, a radio commercial. Even maybe, you know, an ad that, you know, that pops up on your website. So what you guys are saying is that marketing can actually be helpful. Am I catching you right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, again, it's all about the experience now. And so if we show up with a service, with what we have to offer, brands really are today about how they make the customer better, right? What they do. What is the service that they offer? What is the product that they offer that makes the customer better, makes them happier, that makes them better, that makes them whatever it is, fill in the blank, but provides something that the customer walks away with. So when you think about that, when you think about the technologies that are coming in, the marketing will switch from, you know, here's an ad because we're cool and just look at my product, to here's how our products make you better or make you happier, or, you know, McDonald's ice cream, that's my happy place, whatever it is. So you think about it, I love that. It's the best dollar ever spent. Please don't ever change the price.
Yeah, preach, Miri.
Honestly. But honestly, it is about that. And so the experience is you will walk away with, I have something new, and that exactly what Ben and Elly said. If I get an ad for, you know, 50 cents of my sundae, my hot fudge sundae, I'm gonna use it, right? I'm more likely to use that, and it knows because I'm like, hey Siri, where's the McDonald's? And so it's going to be like, oh, she likes McDonald's. So that's the kind of thing that we're going to start seeing.
It's also going to understand, like, the personalization is going to be key, especially when you're able to start to, like, if you take Amazon Alexa for example, I can order things off of Amazon. I can say, Alexa, you know, order me soap, and it's going to send me the bar soap that I like. And eventually I'm going to develop patterns where I'm going to say every 2 months I need, you know, an additional 10 or 12 bars of soap, whatever come in one of those big packs. And eventually it's going to notice that, and it's going to say, you know, here's your to-do for today. You need to order soap. Hey, guess what? We found $2 off of Dove, even though you usually use Dial. Would you like to utilize this coupon? So, I mean, these are all the things that are going to start to take place, especially when you, especially like when you think about Google Home device is connected to your phone as well. It understands where you're going. And then from Google Home could essentially send you coupons to your phone, ping you a notification when you're close to a store where it's giving a discount, whatever the case is. So it's becoming more convenient for the consumer to receive these ads, and it's not like you had mentioned, Chris, which I think is great. It's not as disruptive as it used to be, it's going to be a much more productive tool for consumers to use and productive avenue for marketers to take advantage of.
I want to share this. I think it was a really good question from Carrie, and she talks about, we're in an era of fake news and divisiveness and, things that you see on digital. How will this culture challenge the marketing profession here in 2018, and how can we really stay authentic?
Great question. Who's gonna do that? Elly. Oh, Ben.
No, I mean, I'm not sure I fully understand the question, and I'm not sure how much I could answer because I don't necessarily want to get in trouble from my work. As you all know, it's been publicized. There's Google's been in the news for I don't want to say publishing fake news, but basically having those things come up in the search results. So I think from a consumer standpoint, it becomes difficult to understand what's what's real, what's not. From a marketing standpoint, I think that's going to drive some of the decisions you want to make in regards to where you want to spend your marketing dollars based on the authenticity of that particular site or marketing channel or whatever the case is. I could probably go deeper. I just don't know if I should, and I'll just leave it at that, considering the fact that Google has personally been involved in some of these things.
Yeah, Miri or Elliot.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head with the authenticity factor. So actually making sure that everything that you do isn't just a big conglomeration to be the biggest. And, the old ways of marketing, right? Whoever had the most money and could yell the loudest was the best in the business. And that's not the world we live in. So creating those one-to-one consumer interactions and making them actually feel as they should, like they're part of the brand and they make up the brand, and finding ways to, engage consumers in everything that you do and not just do it to check off the box as a marketer, right? Oh, we did this campaign, and here's a great story we have, and we were very successful. Check, check, check. Well, what did your consumers say about it? What does the data show you? And driving home that authenticity is what's going to change those perceptions and hopefully, increase your brand visibility or whatever your objective or strategy is to, help build your business.
I think we need to consider audiences again, and in this case, specifically millennials and Gen Z that are coming up. How they're perceiving this, what they're thinking about. Do they really care about fake news or not fake news? I mean, sometimes we kind of overestimate and yes, it's there, but how does that impact these generations that are the next, that are already consuming, and then the next consumers? Do they really care? Are they in tune with it? Do they tune it out? I think those are the questions we need to be asking, in a strategic session and going, how do they consume the content in the midst of this noise? What does that look like? And when you talk about authenticity, what does that mean to them? Because we hear that word a whole lot, we throw it around, I throw it around all the time. What does authenticity look like to a 15-year-old today? How are they perceiving a brand? And when you say, well, hey, what's an authentic brand to you? What are they saying, right? And why? And I think the research in who the audience is and the generations and demographics that are coming up is really important for every industry. It's going to change. The answer may change when you ask somebody, hey, those Xbox look, authentic to you and why versus does, Nintendo look authentic to you and why? What does that word mean to them to start with? I think it's a great place to start beyond the noise that we're seeing, because honestly, I don't think it's going to quiet down. I think the noise is going to get bigger, but where brands can differentiate themselves in the midst of that noise through the digital transformation is getting to the right audiences with the right message. I think we all want to be authentic, and I think as brands, there is an authenticity to us that exists already because we exist for a reason. There's a product and there's a service that your brand has today that is offering something to the world. If you just come out with that, that's your story. That's as authentic as it gets. Hey, this is who we are, and this is what we got for you, and hopefully you'll love it and you'll like it and you'll come back again. How you do that, though, and what that means to the generations that are consuming that content, that's the $1 million question. So analysis and research, big deal.
Awesome. We are going to transition to our lightning round. That's where I ask a point blank question to the panelists, and they fire back with a shoot from the hip short answer. So we'll we'll kind of go down the road. Miri, Ben, and then Elly, you'll chime in on these questions. So, name a digital marketing thought leader you really admire.
So I'm biased. Business Accelerator. You guys are awesome. I think what we're doing here, not because I'm here, but honestly, I think this is what it's about. It's brands, and it's a a thought leader like this that's constantly talking to people about what's happening today. The trends will always change. There's constant movement in this space in marketing and digital, and so you have to stay on top of it. So kudos to all of you who are part of this today. Thank you for being here. This is what it's about, the kind of conversations and understanding what's happening with the big brands, the small brands, and everybody else in this space. So Business Accelerator does that all the time. They bring relevant content to the audiences. So kudos to them. I love them. I love their content. I love what you guys do all the time. So Dean, you're awesome.
Same question. Sorry, I'll be quick because Miri took up a little time there. But good plug, and I actually agree with her. Not to say the same one, I'll say Gary Vaynerchuk.
Good. How about you, Elly?
I've been a big follower and believer in business strategist and I think digital marketing extraordinaire Jay Baer for a long time. So follow his work and his blogs and podcasts and all of that.
I'd agree. Gary V and Jay Baer are great sources to follow and learn from. So here's the next question. What's the one thing that's supposed to be hot in 2018 that you think will completely tank?
How about those wool? You know the wool shoes that everyone's buying? I'm just kidding. You're talking digital trends, obviously. Go ahead, Miri.
Go ahead, Miri.
Oh, okay. So I was actually looking at what they're calling the no filter community, basically, because it's raw, and there's a truth to that. There's a truth to us wanting to see content that is just raw and organic. But I don't think that's going to take off and replace everything. I think when you think about how you deliver your content, there's got to be aspects of delivery. So I don't think it's going to be a hot thing that you just go raw and organic and everything is kind of like whatever. I think there's a mix that needs to be part of it when it comes to delivery of content, especially when we talk about storytelling. So try to have both. Try to have both.
I'll quickly say it's been hot, and I think people think it's going to continue to be hot, is M sites. But I think that they are on their way out. I think that AMP and AMP pages will start to replace those because AMP pages are becoming more, or I should say, more attainable, less expensive. M sites still take, in most cases, the average M site loads in about 6 seconds. Consumers think it should take less than 3. So bad consumer experience paired with the ability to have better technology, I think that M sites will start to decline pretty significantly and be replaced with AMP and AMP pages.
I'm going to go with Animojis. I don't know if they're fun and great, and I think they'll have a peak, but I'm not sure they'll stay around for long. Whereas Bitmojis, which I don't even like all that much, sorry, are fantastic, and it's taken a whole new angle with everything that's coming out. So I do actually like them a lot.
All right, your favorite digital marketing related conference to attend?
Social media marketing strategies. I love them. I love that they go all over and they bring great speakers from all over the place. And they have a lot of content for a lot of different industries, which I love. And they have different tracks, and they're all relevant. Last time I was there, it was like 3 tracks, which is amazing. So they're always very relevant with content and what they bring to the table to speakers. That speakers bring to the table. So Social Media Marketing Strategies Summit is one of my favorites.
I'd say, oh, sorry, I was just going to say PubCon for all the same reasons, and then I'll turn it over to you, Elly.
I met Miri at a social media strategy summit back in the day, and I've been at their events for 5 or 6 years now of speaking. So, and that's how I got connected to Dean and all the great people putting this together. So I'll agree with Miri on that. It's about the people, the power, and the network that you have.
Awesome. We're going to have one more lightning round question before we get to giving away that $50 Amazon gift card. So what is one quality that you need to win at digital marketing in 2018? So what's the one quality you need to win at digital marketing in 2018?
Go ahead, Miri.
So I think
Guys, I'm going to have to walk around while I'm doing this as we're a few minutes over. I'm getting kicked out of the room, but I want to stay on. So give me 1 second.
You're a pro, man. You're a pro.
No problem. That's when you're live. That's not. So I think to us, storytelling is the one thing that continues to be, for us, needs to be a continuous win for digital marketing in 2018. And that's the quality of a good story and how we tell it and where we tell it. It's going to be continuously powerful, and from 2018 and beyond, everybody needs to be looking into that, because it is what's driving the entire marketing campaign. It brings it all together. It integrates all the aspects of marketing.
You guys are getting a little sneak peek inside of Google here.
Cool.
Yeah.
See the bikes?
They're outside, but that's okay. So if you can repeat the question there, Chris, because just as
one quality that you need to win at digital marketing in 2018.
One quality, wow. If we're talking digital marketing related, I'm going to say time and knowledge. You have to invest time to gain the knowledge that you're going to need to win in 2018, and the knowledge is going to be key to provide the types of returns and insights you're going to need to move forward, because it's going to get a little bit more complex each and every year. This year, I anticipate getting more complex in regards to the types of insight that you need to know, but less complex in the overall management.
I'm going to give you an action.
Oh.
Roll up your sleeves. Do it. You need to be the one that's driving the change, and if you don't know how to do it and you're in charge of doing it, then you need to figure it out. So take the trainings, online courses, educational classes, whatever it is that you need to learn to increase your knowledge of this space to be the best marketer that you can be for your business.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I just want to share a little bit about our Business Accelerator program that you are viewing this on if you aren't familiar yet. Business Accelerator is a free online tool that American Family Insurance gives you, and you don't have to be an insurance policyholder to receive it. It's open to anyone. You can check it out at ampambusinessaccelerator.com. It's lots of great tips in areas like sales, marketing, leadership, and finance. So we've got great webcasts and webinars like this, archive videos, and also blog posts. And we're also very active on social, so you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and we have a great LinkedIn group. What we do in that LinkedIn group is, I know there were a ton of questions that came in from you as an audience. I really appreciate all the interaction, but there's no way we could get to all the questions. So we're going to do our best to get those answers for you, and we'll post those in the Business Accelerator by American Family Insurance LinkedIn group. So if you're not part of that, feel free to ask to join that as well. So our next webcast coming up, this is actually the final one for 2017. Our next event is coming up on February 20th. We have LinkedIn expert Wayne Breitbarth, who will be back, and he's going to be sharing his weekly 1-hour LinkedIn game plan for results. So a weekly 1-hour routine that you can use to get results on LinkedIn. So mark your calendars for Tuesday, February 20th from noon to 1 Central. So can't wait to see you back in the new year for that. And then we get to experience on all this great forecasting and what is going to be hot for 2018. We'll actually be able to take action on that. So final thing is I want to give away that $50 Amazon gift card, and the winner of the $50 Amazon gift card is Nick Myers. So congratulations.
Nice. Congrats, Nick.
All right, we'll be in touch with you and be able to deliver that to you as well. I just want to say thank you to Miri, Ben, and Elly. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to share your expertise and what's hot in 2018. And also I want to thank everyone online for tuning in today, being so engaged, because I know you really care about your business and what you're doing, and we're so glad to be able to put this on for you. So thank you so much, and we'll see you in the new year.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Good job, Chris.
Back to Disney. Bye.
Bye.